Good morning. How are you today? Welcome. So nice to have you here with me. I hope you had a great weekend. Welcome you to the start of week 2 here of a weekly fasting space. And we'll see. I have had a saga of trouble with my internet and running this, and we may not even be through the woods. I keep thinking that we are, and I think I posted or said last week that I thought I really had it figured out, and I really did think it. Look at that, until literally 20 seconds before I hit the button today, and then it's gone haywire again on me. So I'd be curious just for some feedback while we're working on this live. How is it coming through on your end? Is it choppy? Is it a little choppy, or is it good? I am doing my best. I am trying to do my best to make the quality good. Jen is with us this morning. Good morning. Really nice to have you here. I hope your week is off to a good start. I hope we can jumpstart the week in a good way. And Pat is here. Pat says, got through the weekend without any major setbacks. Cheers to you on that. And down 3 pounds after 1 week and feeling great. Really happy to hear that. Really happy to hear it. Hopefully the connection is good. Yeah, I've learned a lot studying it on all the internet connections. There's different ways to run a live show, and we're gonna get it dialed in. And this is the thing that I like. Every time I do the live show, it records a copy on my computer. And so if it's really bad, I can take down the live and then post it as a video. And I've done that in the past. And on Friday, we were having some of the kind of glitchy dropped frames. The audio is all good though. And I said, well, I will just leave it up here. And as kind of a testament to working through obstacles. This is a big thing that I want to be doing, for everybody in general. We're all working through obstacles. Today, as we usually are, going to be talking about a weight loss obstacle, specifically automatic thinking. Do you ever have it where it's like circuits are like bypassing like the conscious thought? Do you ever find it? All of a sudden you just find you're doing something. Maybe it's eating something, right? Whereas like, okay, we're here in a fasting space. We're sitting in this line between eating and not eating. And we want to be very thoughtful about it, right? To say, of course, we need to eat, and we want to be eating healthy foods when we're eating. And then we come to see, right? This is the whole point of what I'm doing, that there's great value, unappreciated value that our society has missed in an open, food-free space. It's just a very, very healthy, valuable place in the body. Check out my mug. It goes the wrong way, but can it focus? Oh, maybe it won't focus on it. See the good. It just says see the good, okay? Maybe that can be a motto for the week. See the good, and then in a big picture, fasting, right? From a cultural perspective, people say, it's like, oh, that sounds like something I wouldn't want to do. Why would I want to not eat when I can just eat healthy food, and isn't that good enough? Like, well, eating healthy food is great. I'm all for it. I mean, eat the very healthiest food you can. But multiple paths, multiple domains where we want to go. And so we want to bring everything into balance. Fasting is the other side of healthy eating. Periods of time where the healthy food is coming in, see the good in that. Periods of time where we have this space, and then everybody in a different spot. Some people are going to benefit from more space than others. So let's say you're trying to dial in on that space. All of a sudden, you find yourself eating. Or maybe it's like, oh, I was going to be doing this thing at some time. All of a sudden, I was like, oh, here I am back here, not taking the walk I was going to do. We have these grooves, right, where We have habits, patterns, and these things can just go on autopilot. Like we've done something so many times, it gets pushed over into a different system of thinking. And so I'm going to dial in for you. I ordered a number of books that have been on my reading list, a lot of psychology sort of stuff to try to help us really dive deep. I'm like, what is happening? How is our decision making really working? Because if we're trying to move in a new direction, right? We're trying to set the rudder on our sailboat, open the sails, like opening the food-free space, right? I always say, let fasting do the work. That's like the wind blowing the sailboat. We're trying to open our little sail in our fasting space so that that breeze can just blow us along. Jen says fasting until lunch today. Perfect. Opening the sail, just letting fasting blow you through that morning space. Body is working all during that time, and you're drawing down reserves from the body to do that. Such a great thing to do. So I got this book. Anyway, the first book that I got that I'm going to be gleaning from, can you see that? Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. Have you ever read it? Are you familiar with it? I've had quite a few people tell me, oh, you should read that book. And then I look into it and I'm like, oh, it does sound pretty interesting. And so I'm going to step through it. I read a couple chapters over the weekend and I'm going to distill some of that down. So Thinking Fast and Slow, the title, this guy who wrote this got the Nobel Prize in economics for really behavioral focused stuff, like about how we make decisions. And this is something I think we don't really think about. Like we think, at least I do, we think like, I'm just me. I just think like I'm just thinking all the time and I decide everything I do. And that's just kind of the end of it. When in reality, we got kind of two different ways of thinking. The fast and the slow is how he describes it. System 1 and System 2, he will call it, these two different systems. And so when we start to see that, and then we can start to analyze our thinking and like, because part of, and why it got into economics, like I think why he won the Nobel Prize in economics, because it's like, at the time he was doing this research, I think early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, like everybody just believed that people are basically completely rational. And he was like, he basically helped everybody to see we aren't really the rational decision makers that we think. We're really emotional, habitual, and intuitive decision makers. And that's what the fast system is, that there's this fast system that doesn't require conscious thought. And it just does. It just flows. It just goes, right? This is, and he has all these stories already that I've read, like, especially as you get into an area of expertise, like he tells a story of a firefighter and they go into a house where there's like the kitchen's on fire. They go in, they're putting out the kitchen. All of a sudden the chief is like, just get out, you know? And so nobody knows why, but everybody's running out of the house. All of a sudden the whole house like collapses. And they're like, well, how did he know? See, he had an intuition because he's like a veteran and he had all these clues and then he just knew it, right? He just knew what was going to happen. It's very intuitive because there's all this processing going on behind the scenes. Cheer everybody on. I love it. Thank you so much. That's what we want, a big community, everybody supporting everybody. We all kind of walking down the path together, or we're like a flotilla of sailboats, everybody blowing across the ocean in the direction. 2026, January 1st, we have a big party. A super big party, if we want to think really big. Someday, you know, I can think big. Like, so many people coming in on a simple fasting process, we got to like rent out a venue and throw an actual in-person party, but we probably throw an online party this year. Okay, so to illustrate, I'm going to do what he did in the book. So He's like, because we don't think of it, right? That we have these multiple systems running. So what he does in the beginning of the book, let me set it up for you. He will show people a picture for 2 seconds. I'm going to show it to you for 2 seconds. So let's gear up. And so you're just going to see this picture. Ready, go. Okay, there you go. So you don't have to, write it down, but think about it. What did you see, right? So you saw the woman in the picture, right? And instantly, right? You knew all kinds of things about what is going on, right? You knew her emotional state, right? This person's not happy, right? And you can envision what is going to happen next, right? She's going to say something maybe not so nice, Here, now that you went through it, I put it back, we can see it. So something like this, right? Like, we intuitively know all kinds of things about the world, with regarding our social interactions. Like, you can walk in a room and you can know if people are talking about you, like right away, because it's intuitive, right? And we pick all these things up. You don't have to think about it. There's not a cognitive process running. Now, he juxtaposes that sort of system with this, right? So this one isn't a 2-second one, but you throw this one up, okay, solve this problem, right? Now, there's some super math guys out there, math gals, gonna be able to do that in your head. But most people, right, gonna look at that and they're gonna be you're gonna instantly kind of panic, oh man, I don't think I wanna do that. I'm gonna have to really slow it down. But if you had to, you could do it. You could work your way through it, right? But you really have to dial up the mental horsepower, right? And you'd have to start, if it's all gonna be in your head, you're gonna have to, okay, 7 times 4, keep that there. 7 times 2, keep it all in the memory. You're going to have to really dial in. That's the second system, right? Where we have to really concentrate and focus. So those two things, really illustrating it. Here's how he describes it. System 1, operating automatically, quickly, little to no effort, no sense of voluntary control. Do you experience that? See, this can happen across domains. It's not just recognizing people. It's our habits, all the things that we are trained to do. This is why you can find yourself all of a sudden, I'm eating a thing. I didn't really think about it, okay? This is why most car accidents, have you seen this? So many car accidents that just involve one car. It's most often where the road changes and you didn't realize it changed, and all of a sudden there's a different flow in people because they're in the autopilot, right? System 2, allocating attention to effortful mental activities that demand it, including computations, often associated with agency, choice, concentration, and self-control, right? So this is something big that we want to develop, right? If we want to be developing self-control, if we want to change, right? System 1, not so much about change. System 1, more about flow as I'm seeing it and learning it, right? And system 2 is that's where we really got to push that rudder, right? We're trying to change our course, which is what I'm helping everybody to do. Get on a track where we're very thoughtful. See, literally the word thoughtful, full of thought, thinking, implying that we're doing the thinking in control. That's not the first, way of thinking. That's the automatic path. What we refer to as just thinking is the specialized case. What he's walking through, most of the time, we're in this first way of thinking. Most of the things we go through in life are just flowing through the thoughts, the habits, routines, and then we only layer on the additional level. System 2 kind of comes over the top to modify, control, but you have to be very thoughtful about it. Absolutely thoughtful. If you're not thoughtful about it, you kind of default. Always our default is to that first way of thinking, very intuitive, just going with what works or what has worked. System 2 has the ability to change the way system works, basically implying over time by programming the normally automatic functions, right? So this is what we want. Get into our thinking, realize, okay, I haven't thought about this for a while. Do you think this way? Like, oh, so much of what I'm doing, just intuitive, fast thinking, going through the motions. Are we thoughtful then about what is really important, right? Paying attention. This is what we've said before. Awareness, being aware of what's going on so that we can focus this second way of thinking, the slow thinking. Right? Be thinking slowly about the things that are really important. And if we're trying to, like, is our health the most important thing, really? Like, if we don't have health, what else do we have, right? So the big point of what we're trying to do here, right? We're trying to be healthy. We're trying to move ourselves in the best direction. And so what we're going to get into later on, maybe that's tomorrow when I read, okay, we can't focus on everything. We have to make sure that we're using this system 2, our slow thinking, start seeing it as a precious resource. Right? This is why we have the system 1, because we have limited mental capability. We can't be running on, hyper-focus mode in every area of life. So many things get offloaded into that system 1, fast, automatic, intuitive thinking. We want to set a priority of health, right? So if health is our priority, we say we want to really bring our conscious awareness to this system 2 process, slow, deliberate, conscious thinking. And like this is saying, using that to program what we really want to be happening in our decisions in this first system. He says, the often used phrase, pay attention, okay, is apt. If you dispose of a limited budget of attention, then you can allocate it to the activities. If you go beyond your budget, you can fail, and that is when we start leading to what we would call errors in decision-making, or we start doing things that we don't want to be doing, we didn't plan for, because we're floating back into that other system. And then he tells this really interesting story to think about, like, how difficult it is, like, to focus, or if we're so focused on something else, how other things can kind of fall through the cracks. So listen to this interesting story. Story of the invisible gorilla. Have you ever heard of this? Researchers made a short film of 2 teams passing a basketball back and forth. One team wearing white shirts, the other team wearing black shirts. And then the viewers of the film, who are like subjects in this research study, are instructed to count the number of passes made back and forth by the white team and ignore the players in the black shirts. And so the task is very difficult because so many people passing balls back and forth. And so it's completely absorbing. People are super focused in on it. Halfway through the video, a woman walks through the basketball court wearing a gorilla suit. And she walks across the court, thumping her chest. And the gorilla is in view for 9 seconds in the video. Thousands of people watched the video in the study, and half of them did not see the gorilla. In the counting task, special instruction is given to ignore one of the teams, and this leads to blindness. You're blocking everything out. They say so many people come in after they're told about it, and they can't believe. People are just kind of beside themselves and say it was never there. They can't imagine missing such a striking event. The gorilla study illustrates 2 important facts about our minds. We can be blind to the obvious, and we can be blind to our own blindness. How fascinating is that? We can be blind to the obvious and also blind to our blindness. Are there places where that is resonating with you? Where you say, oh yes, I can definitely see that. I feel like this sort of study and these sort of observations, like really getting into a pivotal sort of area. How easy it is to be distracted, right? This is a big thing that I think about a lot, and something certainly that I struggle with. Everybody struggle in our culture. So many distractions, so many things, like, how do they call it? The attention economy, right? Everybody vying for attention. Everybody, like, look at me, like, buy my product, buy my thing. And like, so many people saying, oh, this is true, do this, do that. Whoa. And so think about it with the gorilla study. Like, you're dialed in, you're focused on, something, and like, what are we missing? So that is like part of it. The other part of it is, okay, we're dialed in on habits. Think how many things can just be happening without us even being aware and appreciating it. This is where I've come back to with, some of the talks that we've done in the past, meditation, journaling, building awareness, right? I just wonder myself, like, oh, what would it be like? Like, would I see a gorilla walking across a thing if I was doing a study, if I didn't know it was there? I don't know. So what is the big gorilla in our life, right? Like, what are the things that are happening that we're so distracted from, that we're like, that's kind of a classic. Maybe did they do that? Like, they say like the elephant in the room. We could say like the gorilla in the room, right? What is the gorilla in the room that we are missing or not appreciating because we're distracted? And then what is this fast way of thinking? The habits, the patterns. See, we're trying to change. Right? We are changing. We're all changing, and we're striving and working. And so how do we dial in on that more powerfully? Channel our limited but powerful ability to conscientiously change the patterns. He says in this section, System 1, the fast thinking and the slow thinking, they're both active all the time when we're awake. System 1 running automatically. System 2, it's normally in a comfortable low effort mode where only a fraction of the capacity is engaged. System 1 is generating the suggestions for System 2. It's giving impressions, intuitions, intentions, and feelings. If System 2 endorses it or doesn't stop it, then the impressions and intuitions turn into beliefs, and impulses turn into voluntary actions. And when everything goes smoothly, which is most of the time, then System 2, it doesn't really do anything. It just adopts the suggestions of System 1 with little or no modification. You generally believe the impressions, and then you act on the desires, which is like usually fine. But this is like describing the way we have habits and routines and the way the decision making is normally working. So if you're struggling with specific things, this is what I would say. Realize maybe this framework, 2 systems, can help you. Like, especially when you realize, okay, System 1, which is just this kind of instantaneous, not thoughtful, consciously system, is putting in the feelings and the emotions. It's filling that space, but it's a dialogue between these two, right? When you realize this through our practice, awareness, realizing what is happening, you see, okay, this system is filling these emotions. You can consciously act on it, and you can say no to it, and you can override it. This is the thing. System 2 is there for the pivotal moments to say, actually, no, right? I see what you're doing here. You're putting up these emotional things. We've done that quite a lot. That's the key situation. Say no, and then reprogram. That's how you reprogram. And this is what I've been trying, to show too on the channel, right? Fasting initially can be very difficult. Initially, body is like, what are you doing to me? It's not how we roll. We are like consuming all the time. Okay, it takes a System 2 way of thinking, the slow thinking that this book is outlining, to change the direction of the system, right? but you reprogram it. This is how things become easier. You want to reprogram a fasting space into system 1. Once you train something and you offload that into system 1, then that becomes the default. Then the system starts getting the message like, oh, this is what we do and it's okay. And that's how it can fade into the background and become easier. System 2, also credited with the continuous monitoring of our behavior. Think of the control that keeps you polite when you're angry, alert when you're driving at night. System 2 is mobilized to increase effort when it detects an error about to be made. Remember a time when you almost blurted out an offensive remark and how hard you had to work to control yourself. In summary, most of what we think in System 2 arises in System 1, but System 2 takes over when things get difficult, and normally System 2 can have the last word. The trouble is System 1 has biases. It makes systematic errors in specified circumstances. It is prone to answer easier questions than the one it was asked. I think that's very interesting. And it has little understanding of logic or statistics. System 1 also can't be turned off. If you see a word on a screen in a language you know, you'll automatically read it, unless your attention is totally focused elsewhere. That's why we have to be very, very thoughtful with all of this and realize, okay, we have these powerful, innate, intuitive, instantaneous, emotional systems that can make errors then, right? Because it's fast, because it happens. Do you ever have that? You get angry at someone and it's like you say something before you meant it, you know? And it's like System 2, you can see the construct. Didn't quite kick in fast enough, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Like I didn't mean to do that. Growing in our awareness and our thoughtfulness and our self-control is like exercising that System 2 to gain conscious control over everything that we want, right? Fully control it and program it, shape it, mold it so that we can get into that more flow state, that more open, intuitive state comes to feel more natural. Yeah, can think of System 2 as impulse control system. Here is another really interesting observation from this first little bit. Let me show you this picture. So I'm going to show you a picture, and you tell me which line is longer. Check that out. So, which line is longer? Obviously, the bottom one is much longer, right? But now you can do it on the screen. Like you can't look at this image and say that the bottom line isn't longer. But hold up your finger to the screen or something, and you will actually see that they are exactly the same. Exactly the same. And even after you see it, you still can't do it because the context it so powerfully shapes our thinking about it. This is showing System 1. System 1 is pattern recognizing, and the context, it looks so much longer with the tails, going the other ways. Even when you hold it up to it, you can barely see it, even when you have a line connecting the two, that they're exactly the same. So this is a cognitive illusion that's happening just because of the way the brain works. So we have, this is how you can start to see, okay, our thinking can lead us astray, right? And then you realize, okay, not every illusion is visual like this. So here's a visual illusion. There are emotional illusions, right? Oh, that's what I think. Oh, man. So what is an emotional illusion like? Like, oh, here's an emotional situation. If I react this way, I'm going to feel this way. Like, this is the thing. Here is a situation. If I act this way, I'm going to feel better, And so you can start to see how this automatic thinking, we have emotional illusions, right? This is what I'm trying to say. We get this automatic decision making. We end up in situations, especially with like food cravings, compulsive eating, stuff like this. Like we're in that path, like we think that system one operating, taking us in a direction is a cognitive illusion because it thinks like, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to feel better. But then we end up in a scenario where maybe we feel worse and discouraged and disappointed and frustrated. Like, so that's a cognitive illusion from this fast thinking. These are the things to be aware of. We start building awareness because, before I even was reading this, I'm not too much thinking about that. But it's like, wow, you start to see how powerful it is in our daily experience, right? Got to build awareness of that. Where are emotional illusions that are tricking us based on the way our brain works into taking actions that we don't really want, that aren't really serving us or taking us directly, powerfully down the path we choose? Those are the places where we need to direct our mental horsepower and intention and focus. 3 sentences he wrote at the end of the chapter. Let's see, I highlighted. He had an impression, but some of his impressions are illusions. That's the way to think about it. So, okay, we have impressions. Like we get ideas. The system is feeding us. I should really eat at this time is like an emotional experience or feeling. Okay, some of these are illusions, right? Another sentence was, this was a pure System 1 response. It's trying to help us think about this. She reacted to the threat before she recognized it, right? Intuitive. That's that system. So fast. This is your System 1 talking. Slow down and let your System 2 take control. So that's how he ended that first chapter, which is something to think about. And that's what I will tell us for this week. I kind of wanted to set the intention that way. Slow down and let that System 2 take control. That's what we'll do. So I think I was counting it out. What did I see? We're like 72 days out now. 72 days till 2026. We're still way out, right? We started this months out so that as we're stepping forward, and each day we're going to be building our skill like this, trying to like dial in on the thinking. It's the thinking that drives the action, right? Like, to lose weight, right, to get in on the path of weight loss is a physical process. You have to do the physical process to get a physical result in the body. Okay, but the thought is what drives the physical process. The thinking, the decision-making, the self-control, discipline, all of these sort of things is what gets you in a groove. And I hope what this is showing is with these systems, we'll keep stepping through this book, gaining insight. Slow down. Let that very thoughtful center really drive the most important things, the priority of health. Identify in your life, maybe through journaling, identify emotional illusions. Can you find any in your life? Many times these are the obstacles. So we face obstacles. Some of them could be emotional illusions, things that are appealing in the short term, and we think that they're the path to happiness and well-being and betterment, but then they don't work, right? And we've started to recognize and we're aware, hey, every time I do that, this is not taking me down the path I want. All right, writing that out. That's where we want to focus, that System 2 thinking. To reprogram. So we're going to get over that hurdle. And that is how we keep taking a step on the path. Many hurdles and obstacles on a path, many twists and turns, and like a lot of the process. It's just keeping our vision. Where are we going? Every day, just taking the step that we can take. We can't step the whole way, no way to do it, all the way there in one big step. Every day is a step. Every day is an opportunity to see the good, see the opportunity to learn and grow and practice and take one step forward toward the goal. I hope you like those thoughts from this book. I've actually got a stack of books that are all about helping us get on this sort of path. I am going to be walking through these and many other things. Let me know feedback you have about that. What thoughts do you have? If thoughts come to you, throw them in the comments too on this video. And I will be back tomorrow, and we will keep stepping through the thinking, and we will continue to walk down this path together in better health. Really great to have you here. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.